What's up and welcome. It's a little late on a school night, but that's loud. But I need to get stuff done. I need to edit a video. I'm just feeling too tired, so I sit on my couch and don't do anything. I sit on my couch and I don't do anything in the evening. That's not true. I record um, audiobook stuff. I try to do it when I get home, but what's up, Anita? But if I know someone watching Atticus, I can't. I have to wait till Christina gets home, and so then I start recording at what, like 6:15. I started recording at 6:30 last night. I recorded from 6:30 to 8 p.m. last night. What's up, Sam? What's up, Marianne? This is late. I don't know how long I'm going to be on, but I need to edit this video and get it out so I can at least get something out. Like, I do exist. I just wish. It's not that I don't want to talk about what I read. It's that I don't want to film a video and talk about what I read. I just want to talk about it. I have no problem talking about the things I read. It's been a hard couple of weeks. I can't. I read Pratchett wrong, Mitch. Oh, you read Two Pratchett's Month. Oh, right on. Which did you read? I've been on the struggle bus. I've been dealing with some black depression, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just ready to give up on basically everything. I am, however, I may do my first scripted. I'm doing terribly. I may do my first scripted video ever. I'm working on a video called On Virtue because this has been weighing on me. Okay, Guards is way better than Color Magic. Just the idea of virtue and a virtuous populace and virtuous leaders, and like just the idea of just possessing virtue and striving for virtue it's just been weighing on me. So I need to make a video about it because we're about to, on this week, we're starting a Roman Senate kind of, it's called Reacting to the Past. It's like they take on historical personas. So we're meeting the Catilinarian conspiracy. Those of you who read Cicero, the Catilinarian conspiracy. So we're basically meeting the Senate, and we're going to debate a few things on that. But one of the things they have to reference is Roman virtues. And when I was just reading through the Roman virtues, and now, I mean, let's be real. Like the Romans were not often possessed of these virtues, but it gave them something to strive for. And it was understood that the ideal Roman would be possessed of these virtues, even if they could not make it. But even things like just from like, I don't know. And I just look at these virtues, and I look at the lead citizens in this particular country, the people that everyone looks to and listens to. And I was just trying to, which of the virtues do they embody? The answer is almost none of them. And that's really, it's just depressing. And so I've been reading a lot about that. Anyway, it's hard to not get sidetracked in many other things while talking about that. So I'm just going to talk about virtue, but there are other things like the purpose of institutions. Wait, hold on. What was Laura? Man, I didn't check. Sorry, Laura. It was not intentional. Oops. I didn't think anybody would be streaming on a Tuesday night. Come on. Anyway, it just bugs me. Like, what's up, Kev? People like virtue. Like, people should have virtue. Like, they should. Anyway, I'm not getting on this. The title of my video about the Tumbrils. This is one thing so whenever I give the lecture on Roman education, I tend to talk a lot in that class because I value education. And it used to be our jobs as teachers to mold the character of students as well, because character was taught in public schools, or as the unschooler population goes, government schools. I'm going to go ahead and give a hot take here. If you unschool your child, I don't think you're a good parent. And you know what? Maybe you disagree. That's okay. But if your child cannot read when they're 9 because you don't want to force any lesson on them, I think you're a bad parent and you're crippling them. To quote Coach Boone of Remember the Titans, played by the inestimable Denzel Washington, you're crippling them, coach. You're crippling them for life. And so the unschooled, I feel like unschooled people that want to unschool their kids, I feel like those are people who weren't good at school and are mad that a teacher was mean to them. And so they're going to get their revenge. Oh my gosh, this is what I'm trying to talk about. Thank you so much, Titan. Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming I'll read it one day. It's just not high on the priority unless one of the patrons sticks it on a wheel and I end up having to read it. Anyway, so I talk a lot about that because I'm trying to, the early American education was similar to early Roman education in that it was, a lot of just watch what I do and do it, and an education on citizenry and virtue and what it was like to be an ideal Roman, and the needs of the state. It's pietas. It's loyalty to the gods, the state, and the family in that order. And so the needs of the state came before what you as a punk kid wanted to do. Now, I've said the needs of the state, and I'm certain some of you now see a hammer and sickle behind me. Anyway, no, I'm not a sickle waving Soviet, I promise. At any rate, the Tumbrils. No. Homeschooling is not unschooling. And I talked about this in my Roman education lesson also. There are 2 types of homeschoolers. There are the homeschoolers like Christina's best friend, Claire, who is one of the most brilliant people I know and who was homeschooled her entire, K through 12. But her parents are very bright, and Claire is naturally curious and independently, intrinsically motivated. And she's super smart.
And they pushed her really hard.
But then you have the homeschoolers who they're really mad at the government regulating them because the government's going to find out that their kids don't know anything. These are the homeschoolers that all of a sudden have to go to public school, and they are dumber than a box of rocks. They know nothing. They know nothing. They're better than the unschoolers because they can at least read and write, but they don't know anything because their parents are unqualified to teach them. And I'm saying a whole lot of guys, things may get gross on my channel. I'm just over it. I'm just over it. I'm over the attack on education. I'm over the lack of virtue. I'm over the celebrating of venality. And I'm over the hypocrisy of one faction claiming that they believe in one thing, that they believe in the cursing the vice of the other faction, only to do the exact same bloody thing, but it be different this time. As Benjamin Franklin said, rebellion's only illegal in the third person, their rebellion. Rebellion is always legal in the first person, our rebellion. Hey, Seneca did a good job until Agrippina shoved him out. So anyway, so the tumbrils, if you didn't know what a tumbril is those wagons with the high sides that they put people in to wheel them down to Paris Square just in time for the guillotine. And so there's a particular class in the new caste system that I feel belongs in the guillotine. And this is a personal pet peeve of mine. I am calling for here, live and online, the casting down of the podcaster elite. I do not know where these people came from. And all I know is that I want them to go. Shut up, Gemini. No one's even talking to you. And I'm not talking about people with a podcast. If you want to listen to Hardcore History with Mike Duncan, that's who it is, right? He's a history guy. You can listen to him talk about history. If you want to listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson talk about space, that's just a podcast. That's just a person who is an expert on something talking about something that they're experts on. What I cannot tolerate and what I am over are people who don't know what the frick they're talking about, who have undue influence on other people who don't know what they're talking about. Christina, if you and Finn are going to have this text conversation, I'm going to mute this. So I'm losing my mind with this. I'm losing my mind with this because what gives these fools the right to opine on crap they don't know what they're talking about? What are their qualifications? What school did they go to? What degree do they have? What research have they done? And this enters into, again, Tom Nichols is a wonderful author. He wrote Our Own Worst Enemy, but he also wrote a book called The Death of Expertise, where these people in the podcaster elite, I guess it's the fifth estate now, they have people on their podcasts who also don't know anything. And the thing is, it's celebrated. Like, what era have we entered in to where being an expert on something is a bad thing? Now, are there experts on something who have biases? Yes, because they're human. Do experts mess up sometimes? Sure they do. Absolutely. Do some experts mess up and then not cop to having messed up and try to gaslight the way out of it? Sure. Does this diminish the expertise of experts in general? No. So please explain to me. Please explain to me why someone who has devoted their life to the study of a topic is less trusted than someone's dad who Googled for a couple hours and found the two top sites on Google and read a whole bunch of crap. And now they're an expert. Can you please explain to me how it's preposterous, guys. It's preposterous. And these people ought to be ashamed of themselves because whenever they are called out, they say, well, I'm just a guy with a mic. Like, what responsibility should I have? Shut up. You know what? I'm going to quote Philip Seymour Hoffman from Punch Drunk Love. Shut up. If anybody's seen that movie, tell me if you recognize that quote. It is the most dishonest. And this is what I'm talking about. When I talk about on virtue, this is exactly, everything ties in. Everything links up. Because if people had virtue, they would not, because if you're just a guy with a mic, right? And you don't have any responsibility, like, okay, that's fine. But then don't act like your opinion needs to carry this gravitas and this weight, and also don't profit from it. But if you're, bless you, but if you are going to have this influence on people, then you have a responsibility to tell the truth. You have a responsibility to have integrity, and you have a responsibility to understand that the words you're saying have weight and impact. Otherwise, you are morally bankrupt. You are a cancer on the good health of society, and welcome to the Tumbrils. Like, it'll be passing by your neighborhood soon. You know what? We'll meet you outside. Meet you outside. You know, no one's going to force you. We'll just open the door. You can walk in the wagon. Come join us. Join the revolution. It's enraging me, guys. Thanks, Mitch. I'm just tired of lack of responsibility. I'm tired of intellectual dishonesty. I'm tired of moral bankruptcy. I just need Commander Vines to come and sort these people out. Because despite the fact that people have always been stupid and people have always been venal, at least the people who influenced the population at some point had at least the facade of respectability, the facade of virtue and morality. And besides the facade, many of them actually gave a crap about a moral, a virtuous populace that strove for the betterment of the community, the betterment of the state, the betterment of mankind, and did not just cash it. Now, have there always been demagogues struggling to cash in on the rage of the masses? Of course. Hyperides, Cleon, many throughout history, Catiline. Demosthenes also a demagogue, but Demosthenes was a demagogue, but also truly believed in Eleutheria and the freedom of Athens from Macedonian control, like he did. Of course, you have Eupilic. But the problem is that's disgusting. Selling your integrity for money. I don't understand. I don't understand. I get that we need money. And guess what? I need money too. We can't afford our bills. We both work full time. And this is another thing that's got me black depressed. We had to stop saving for Christina's retirement because we can't afford it. We're about to have to stop saving for my retirement because I can't afford it. I can't afford to save for my retirement. And me and Christina work more than full time. And I'm going to go ahead and call out Florida for now. All my particular representatives and senators can do, all they can do is to go on Facebook and toady. That's it. They go on Facebook and they toady. There are no solutions. It is nothing but toadyism. Nothing. They just go on Facebook and they toady. They ignore reality. They tout victory. They are President Bush, bless his heart, with his mission accomplished banner long before mission was accomplished. Out there toadying, because being a toady is more important than integrity. One of our representatives, Jay Trumbull, I'll call you out, Trumbull. I saw on Hulu an ad for his business, Whitehead Plumbing. Guess what? I now know what plumber I will never use because it's this freaking toady. My buddy Bell is like, well, to be fair, Alan, they've brought a lot of infrastructure and stuff with the bridge and okay. And then I said, Bell, no one can afford to live here, Bell. I don't care. I don't care how nice the bridge is. No one can afford to live here, Bell. What have any of them done to make it to where I can afford to live in the city I work? Rick Scott, my senator, who was my governor for 8 years, destroyed public education in Florida. Rick Scott's during he oversaw the largest expansion of standardized testing in Florida's history. We buy our tests from Pearson. His wife was on the board of Pearson. Because who cares, right? Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? My governor, DeSantis, was a decent governor when he first was elected. He raised teacher salary, passed protection for the Everglades. Awesome. And then the culture war came to Florida. And now every politician on the face of the planet is too busy fighting the culture war to do anything for anyone. And I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to lose my mind. If you want to be the party of small government, that's fine. There's a lot to recommend for a small government. I agree. You want to champion freedom of speech? Me too. I agree. Freedom of speech, absolutely. Do you know what neither of those two things is? Banning books. Banning books is neither of those two things. It is not small government. It is not freedom of speech. And this is the kind of hypocrisy I'm talking about. If you want to be the party of small government, then you need to be the party of small government. If you want to be the party of freedom of speech, then you be the party of freedom of speech. But that includes people who are saying things you don't like. People say things I don't like all the time that I got to listen to. And it all comes down to factionalism that you can profit from. Because all that matters is you and yours. This amoral familism where you and yours get yours and no virtue is involved. No virtue, no morality, no ethics, nothing. We don't ponder how to be the good man. No one considers what is the good man. What is living the good life? You know what? This is one time that I would appreciate Jared and his check mark being here because he could actually speak to that also. And anyway, I'm not like one day I'm just going to have a completely just a political stream. And then I'm going to boot the people who are missing the point of what I'm trying to say, because I'm not here for people to dig in their heels on their tribe's side. Because if you think that your side isn't also guilty of the same bloody thing, it absolutely is. And so I was talking about with my students. I said, you've got freaking over here, we've got George Santos, who just freaking lied to get elected to the Senate. Just lied. Nothing on his resume was true and was absolutely unapologetic. Federal prison. Enjoy it, you piece of human filth. But then on the Democrat side, we have dude who just took bribes from Egypt. Democratic senator just took bribes from Egypt, had like Egyptian gold hidden under his bed. And when they went and they raided his house, they looked on his computer, guys, and I'm not kidding. And hopefully you've heard this story. On his computer, he had typed how to hide Egyptian gold into Google. How to hide Egyptian bribe money. Literally. And then the first thing he did is he blamed it on his wife. He blamed it on his wife first, threw his wife under the bus. Federal prison. Thank goodness. These people belong in prison. But do you see how I am glad that both of them are in prison? Because I don't care. When people on the side that I agree with commit crimes, they should be punished for the crimes they committed. Why is that such a hard concept to grasp? If you do something wrong, you should take responsibility and have consequences. I try to teach my students that also. It is an uphill battle because there are no consequences for anything. And the people who are the most visible, who are guiding this American ship currently for the last couple decades, people look and they do not see that character matters. They do not see that virtue matters. It is just, like, I want to say enraging, but like, it just has me despondent because people don't care. Like, they don't care. And I talk with people one-on-one, and they do care. They act like they care. And in their daily lives, they are kind and generous and do care. And then the second their tribe speaks, it's like a completely different human being. Completely different human being. And part of the problem, besides the lack of virtue, is the fact that no one treats anyone with the benefit of the doubt. No one treats anyone as if they are good faith actors. Part of this is because there's so many bad faith actors now. It's a mess. Anyway, I know y'all don't log into this here and we talk about this crap. But this crap is just weighing me down because I don't know. It's just frustrating. It's just frustrating. I talk in my class all the time about the fact, like, one thing, regardless of political spectrum, one thing that I've always believed in is the justice system. I believe very strongly in justice. I always have. That's why Sam Vimes is my hero. I believe that, and as it says in Night Watch, the law has to apply to everybody equally, or it's not the law, or it's not justice, it's tyranny. And it is. I talk to my students all the time. I said, hey, if you're going to be a criminal, commit a white collar crime. Just be a white collar criminal. Like, don't steal, don't rob somewhere, embezzle hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars. You'll be fine because the chances of you being caught are low. And if you're caught, the chances of you being prosecuted are low. And if you're prosecuted, the chances of you being convicted are low. And if you're convicted, the chances of you doing much time in prison are low. And really, you'll probably pay a fine. And the fine is probably less than the money you stole, because that is disincentivization at its finest, ladies and gentlemen. However, you or I, we can go and, take $100 from a cash register, and we will be arrested and we'll be thrown in jail. And guys, virtue should not be political. Virtue should be apolitical. I'm reading a book right now, and it's wonderful, about how our leaders should serve our institutions and not vice versa. The institutions are meant to be served, not to serve. They're not there to serve the leader. Like, they're meant for the leaders to serve them. Servant leadership is a thing that we have literally no idea what it means anymore. But morality should be apolitical. Education, the desire to have an educated and virtuous populace should be apolitical. The fact that justice should be applied equally should be unpolitical. It should not. There should be no one rising to the defense of saying, "Oh, no, that's not right. No, rich people and poor people have the same opportunities." Get out of my face, you disingenuous troglodyte. We talk about meritocracy when we talk about all the ocracies in classical studies. And a meritocracy, while slightly better, is really an aristocracy. Meritocracies always tend towards aristocracies. And this is because, yeah, it is based on merit. It is based on who does the best. But which people are in the position to do the best, can hire the best tutors, can pay for the most expensive lessons, can take them on the best on the biggest trips. Like, it's the people at the top. So it's basically the same. Every now and then you get someone who busts through the barrier. So at least in a meritocracy, the barrier can be busted by a naturally talented, gifted, intelligent person who's just lucky. here's a segue for you. I was watching Mary Poppins, and in the song A British Home with Mr. Banks, a British home is run with precision. No, a British bank is run with precision. A British home requires nothing less. Oh, no, I've gone too far. Hold on. Oh, I'm the lord of my castle, the sovereign, the liege. I treat my subjects with a firm, servants, children, wife, with a firm and gentle hand. Noblesse oblige. And I was like, noblesse oblige. We have too many people who start claiming the noblesse and just completely forget about the oblige. What happened to the noblesse oblige? There used to be. And again, guys, I'm not trying to lionize or sepia tone rose-colored glasses the ancient past. I realize they could be brutal societies. I do. But they had a responsibility, a moral responsibility to give back to the population they served. They were called liturgies, and they were expected. Sorry, noblesse oblige is the obligation of the nobility. It is the responsibility of the governed, of the governors, to care for the governed and to give back to the governed. That is what noblesse oblige is. Anyway, irritating. And if we started, the problem is that people try to make virtue political because everyone is so focused. Well, no one's focused on policy at all, but people pretend that they're focused on policy. People are focused on scoring points, scoring political points, which benefits no one that matters. No one that matters. No one free from the Tumbrils. And by focusing on political issues, I'm focusing on what choices and what we think you do this, we think you do this. They miss the point. If you focus on virtue, this is the thing, guys, and we could all do a little better with this, myself included, because I'm not perfect. I'm not the philosopher king. We could all do a little better at understanding, because here's the thing, guys. I don't know about you. I would rather anytime, no matter who it is, no matter who's in charge of city, state, country, I would rather be guided, have the ship steered by someone who, from first principles, is making their decision based on virtue, trying to make a virtuous choice. Whether I agree with that choice or not, it could be a political choice that I don't agree with. But if I trusted that person to be, if I knew that person to be virtuous, I knew that person strived for virtue, cared about morality and ethical behavior and justice, then that's okay. Because, guys, guess what? Our country is built to serve everyone, not just your half. Go ahead, write it in ink, put it on a bumper sticker. Everyone, not just yours. But if the people at the helm are virtuous, then we can trust the decisions that are being made with wisdom and prudence. And, we just may not always agree with it, but at least the character is in the right place. And we don't ever start with that. We start with political views rather than virtue and character. That's where we start. Everyone should say, in my opinion, everyone should say, I am going to vote for the most virtuous candidate. I do not care what party they are from. I am voting for the one with character. Everything else will come later. And it shouldn't matter what party they're from. It shouldn't. Now, if both, or however many demonstrate character, then go to the next tier in your hierarchy of needs. This is why West Wing, people make fun of West Wing now. Like back in the 90s, it wasn't made fun of, but now it's made fun of because people think that's hilarious. People think the idea of making decisions with virtue. The later seasons of West Wing, when Alan Alda and Jimmy Smits are running for president after Bartlett's termed out, some of the best episodes ever, because it shows the two parties, both of whom believe in improving the lives of its citizens and the well-being of the country, just from completely different. They just believe that is done differently. And the episode, the debate, where that was live with Alan Alda and Jimmy Smits, is absolutely phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. Of course, because that's all that matters. Because we are emotional, unthinking beings, and again, and also don't start with the, well, they did it, so we're doing it. That's stupid, guys. As children, we understand that that's not how it works. Like, at some point, someone has to say enough. And guess what, guys? Standing up for the right thing, standing up for character and kindness and virtue may not be easy. In fact, it may actually be flipping hard. But, as we know, if it's worth having, it would be easy, right? People need to stand up and demand better. Demand better from our communities, from every tier. Anyway, I'm just sad because it comes from a place of believing that, I think at some point we thought character was important, and now we don't. And I'm I don't know, on the struggle bus. Our Own Worst Enemy by Tom Nichols talks about some of this. The laws, guys, of republics and democracy, they are meant, because they're not like iron fisted and often left open to interpretation. They rely on a virtuous populace. They rely on a shared sense of values, a shared sense of moral center, like they do. Without that, they're like, our institutions are easily manipulated by people who don't care. And there's too much of that, and everyone thinks that they have to. And I'm reading a book called right now that is phenomenal about institutions and our obligation to them, called, what's it called? A Time to Build by Ural Levin. It's phenomenal. It's, I don't know. I've seen The Wire. Written. The moral cowardice that people show on a regular basis, where people who know better stand, like they sit there in front of things that they know to be wrong, and for personal gain, ignore it. And it's disgusting. And cowards, I don't know, join the Tumbrils. And anyway, the podcaster class is not helping it. The podcaster class is fanning the fire because they know they can make money doing it. No one believes anything they say. They just say it because it outrages people and they can make money off of it. And it's disgusting. And they ought to be ashamed of themselves. And you know what? Those same people, if they heard what I was saying right now, would have a bunch of choice words for me. Like many things that I would be called. Because, that's just what it is. So sorry, I meant to sprint. I know that's not why you guys watch my channel. I try to at least inculcate some kind of values in my students. And a lot of times I disagree with my students. I do tell them that, hey, guys, your favorite TikTok influencer doesn't know anything about geopolitics. So neither do you. So stop. Just stop. You're 15. You don't know anything about the nuance of geopolitics. I promise you. I promise you. Physically, yes. Internally, no. I've been super depressed. I just want to quit everything. I want to give up. I'm considering selling my scruples as well and just going out and be a motivational speaker, because all I have to do is be peppy, tell people everybody has the same 24 hours in a day. Talk about the grind set. The problem is I was never on drugs, which usually helps when you're a motivational speaker. I don't know. Anyway, principles should matter. That's all I have to say, guys. Principles should matter. Virtue should matter. We should care about character. Character should triumph. And guys, it's okay. We're all guilty of it. Every one of us. Every one of us is guilty of it. Every one of us. I am incredibly vengeful. So the thing I just said about one person does it, so you shouldn't do it. I am vengeful, and I shouldn't be. I know I shouldn't be. None of us are perfect. Ain't none of us perfect. Hold on. To quote, Remember the Titans again. I ain't perfect, and I ain't never gonna be. So anyway, so I appreciate y'all listening. Fortunately, streams aren't really pushed out to the algorithm because Lord knows I need people commenting on this one, right? But yeah, these things should matter. That's all I got to say. I meant to sprint, and I did not. So we should sprint, because I really should edit this video, though it's getting kind of late. Maybe I won't. Sorry, guys. Would y'all be mad at me if I didn't put up a video tomorrow? I really should. I don't want to. Well, I guess before you start, what's everybody reading? What is everyone reading? I'm reading Soldiers Live. I'm going to finish out the Black Company here at some point. To prep for the new book coming out. So when I finish Soldiers Live, I'm going to read City of Stairs by Robert Jackson Bennett. Right on, Feet of Clay. Right on, Pete. Right on, Pete. I just finished Parker's new novella, Making History. It's pretty good. Staying Fat for Sarah Burns. That's a story? All right. You've never even read Game of Thrones. Why are you reading Windhaven? I want to read this. I've got to clear through stuff that I have to read first. Look, I'm all about staying fat for Sarah Burns. You know what? If she likes. What is the Discworld files? Very cool. Didn't that win? Didn't this tie with Mushroom Blues for Swiftbox? How? I looked and they have the same rating. How did they decide? If they have the same rating, how did one win? What? Oh, it was the favorite of more, I guess. I suppose. Spiffbox sucks because you are sunk. You are dead in the water if one person doesn't like your book. Like you get 1-4, dead in the water. That's not true. By Blood by Salt had a 4 and it still won. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Anyway, sorry guys, I'm drained. I don't know why it's so hard to care about this stuff. Like, I don't know why it's so hard for other people to care about this. Mushroom Blues. For those of you who care, Prophet of Edan should be out in the next couple months. I'm close to finishing it. It's really hard to record when I'm sick all the time. I mean, can't record when I'm sick all the time because I'm stopped up and can't do anything. So I spent most of April sick. If y'all watch Shouting with Nuts, I was sick from that day until like this weekend. So hopefully that'll be out. I have a plan. If everything goes to plan for the summer, hopefully I will finish recording the third book before the end of the summer if I stick to my plan and I don't get sick. If I get sick, I'm screwed. But if I don't get sick, I should be able to. Because that's all I'm doing this summer. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed our discussion on virtue. We can go ahead and I'll just do one sprint, guys. Sorry, it's just gonna be one tonight. But we'll do one and then call it. So I'm gonna edit this video. If I get it done in time, I'll put it up. If I don't get it done, guys, then you know what? I may be tired. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna put up. I may just read. I don't know what I'm gonna do. We'll see. But yeah, I'm reading Soldiers Live, Anita. The Black Company. For anyone who hasn't read The Black Company, if you're gonna read The Black Company, you need to read all 10 because if you don't like individual books, that's fine. I don't love individual books, but what Black Company, the Black Company story as a whole is just one of my favorite things ever. Like it's just so good. It's so good. Like I love Malazan, but I think I like Black Company better than Malazan. And I think it's just because they're shorter and there's less people standing around waxing philosophical. So I get it's basically all the Marines. I get all the Marines and none of the oh, look at this old stuff or whatever. So maybe it will. I just feel bad. I just feel so bad. I'm perpetually feeling bad. Oh yeah, because those two fandoms are reasonable. That's asking for a polite discourse, I'm sure. It's the last one. It's book 10. Okay. So let's read. Yes. I know, Adam. I know. I read Silver Spike and yeah, I read Black and then I read in January I read Shadowslinger and White Rose. And then I read Silver Spike the next month. And then I read Shadowgames the next month. Then I read Dreams of Steel the next month. And then the next month I just went ahead and read bleak seasons and Choose the Darkness. And then this month I read Water Sleeps. Oh no, I guess I read Water Sleeps last month also. And so this month I'm reading Soldiers Live. I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna get it done.
I want to point out that you dusted me.
I told you I was gonna start it. You didn't even start it.
No.
I might have held up if you started it, but you didn't. I'm like, I'm just gonna read it then. I will say, I do not think the audiobook narrator for book 9 is very good. So I didn't like it at all. Mark, the guy who does the first 5, or the first 1, 2, 3, and 5. The Croker narrator is really, really good. Anyway. See you, Rogue. Welcome back. Feel actually
Hello.
actually feel pretty good. I didn't read much, but I got some bookkeeping done. I basically rated like 7 books on Goodreads that were just sitting in my currently reading pile that I finished. And then I am proud of myself because I never do any of this because I've given up on life. I emailed Tristan Hughes, who is a historian and author of the history book I just finished. And I asked him, I said, hey, do you want to come talk to me about Perdiccas and Ptolemy?
That's
like,
awesome.
Maybe. It'll be awesome if he is fun about history.
Yeah.
If it's super stodgy, I can't imagine it'll be fun. I basically need someone who will do like year by year power rankings of like the successes of Alexander with me. So okay, here Perdiccas has really lost some momentum here. But hey, Laura, how you doing? Alex's thought library, yes, absolutely. And Pete, why is this book so good? Like I forgot
It's
literally what I was just talking about, Pete. If citizens approach voting with a purely mercenary sense of self-interest and devoid of any sense of civic responsibility, liberal democracy cannot last long. When we disengage from society and ignore our civic obligations, we are bad citizens. When we listen only to those with whom we already agree and believe anyone else is wrong as a matter of first principles, we are bad citizens. When we insist on one standard of treatment from the government and the law for ourselves and for people whom we happen to like, and a different standard for others, we are bad citizens. When we continually blame the world around us for our nation's troubles while refusing to consider whether we've had any part in them, we are bad citizens. And when we only do what's best for ourselves, we are not citizens at all, but rather we become mercenaries, loose in the ship of state and plundering the hold, with no interest in our direction and no regard for our eventual survival. Mic drop, Tom Nichols.
so good.
It's so good. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
One of the things that I'd love for you to talk about, like as a wrap up, when you do your political video, your political stream, or whenever you.
I never said I will. I'm never going to do a political stream ever.
Okay.
People will flee me in droves because here's the thing: because the second you state a political adjective or a political, all of a sudden everyone assumes that they know everything about all your political opinions. No, because I'm not an idiot. So I'm not an idiot. So I have multiple opinions across the whole spectrum. I'm on the spectrum. I even have autistic opinions.
Anyways, so what I was going to say, I'd love something for you to talk about more on a positive note is be very like, could you talk more on how to be a good citizen?
Yes.
Like, what if you ranted about being
yes, I could read you Roman virtues right now that were literally how to be a good citizen of Rome. There's 2 things that I think are super interesting and super valuable. It's called comitas and humanitas. And comitas is how it was the proper way of relating with people below your social status. So for aristocrats, it was you conducted yourself here. Bust them out right now. Watch out. Here we go. Watch out. Comitas. A Roman should display good taste, decorum, and courtesy at all times. Listen to this. Must display good taste, decorum, and courtesy at all times when interacting with someone of lower social status. A Roman should never be boorish, crass, inconsiderate, or discourteous. His comitas was one of the aspects of Romanitas that distinguished him from the bestial barbarian and the obsequious Greek, although some more traditional Romans believed comitas was a dangerous modern disposition. And then you have humanitas, the refined manners, tact, and style that a well-educated Roman aristocrat should have in his dealings with other members of the same social rank. Like, imagine that. Imagine that, Pete.
Imagine if we didn't treat life like a reality TV show or politics like a reality TV show.
Here's another one. Equitas. A Roman should treat others justly and fairly in politics and personally.
Amen. Wow.
Clementia. A Roman should grant tolerance, forbearance, and gentleness to the humbled weak.
Why doesn't it end in toss? I thought all of them did.
No. Okay, so TIA words like clementia end in CY, often end in CY or CE in English. So justitia is justice, clementia is clemens. And then aequitas, these are just third declension. Aequitas, aequitatis, just different declensions.
Mm-hmm.
Fides. A Roman should be good to his word and undertake what was expected of him and trust that others would do the same. Fides was the reciprocal obligation between father and son, patron and client, friend and friend, that should underlay all Roman social, political, and financial transactions. Imagine promising to pay something and doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Promising and not trying to cheat the person out of it. Imagine that.
Bankruptcy court. Fiduciary. That's a modern word.
That comes from fides.
Oh.
It comes from trust, faithfulness, trust. What else we got? Industria. A Roman should work hard for the betterment of the state and his family and friends. Even leisure should be productive, never lazy or idle. Now, I am not always industria. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't. It doesn't mean you shouldn't strive for it. Fiduciary.
There's fiduciary and there's fiduciary.
We got a whole bunch of fiduciaries out there. Fidouche canoes.
Fidouche canoes.
Anyway, we should care about this stuff.
We should absolutely
care about this stuff. But the problem is that people, even people who there are some people who think they're moral. There are some people who think they're virtuous and believe that they have to compromise these principles in order to get to a position where they can make something virtuous, not realizing that compromising principles, like compromising your integrity, there is no end justifying the means. There isn't. There's no like, if you're compromising your integrity, you're not all of a sudden going to you're not going to corrupt your way and compromise your way to a position of virtue. Like, you're not. Sorry.
What? 3, 7, 10 wrongs don't make a right?
No, they don't.
That's news.
Thanks, Evie. I'm really glad that you're subbed to my channel now. Like, it's the end. The end cannot justify the means. The end can, character has to matter. The means have to matter. That's not virtue. Not Socrates, not Plato, not Aristotle, not Seneca, not any of these bozos. The end didn't justify the means. Virtue is what mattered. The means matter.
And I feel like the founders of America understood that. Like,
they read Cicero. They read Cicero's De Republica. They read Cicero. They read Demosthenes. They read Seneca. You want to know why? Because people used to be able to read. Because they were taught to read. And they were taught to read the great thinkers that came before them. We weren't so bleeding arrogant to where we know everything, or someone's uncle in his garage with an internet connection knows more than frickin' Cicero. Honey.
I think that we should institute a government attest. You have to read Cicero and Seneca and Aristotle and prove that.
Pete, in our government schools, we used to read those.
Yeah.
We used to read those because we thought that philosophical thinking and ethical education and moral education, we thought that was important to the corpus of a citizen. I love Aristotle as a character. I don't like him as a writer at all.
I need to get to reading some more of Cicero. It's harder for me to read nonfiction, but I'm working at it more.
Oh, his speeches?
Yeah.
Cicero, what a guy, man. I mean, but so in like
Amen, Anita.
classical education, which is just right now is classical education. A lot of times now is code word for my kids aren't good enough to do well in the SAT, so I'm going to give them this Bobo test at home so they can get into college. Sort of a lot of the classical education people that I come across are, but a real classical education involves, I don't know, studying that kind of stuff. And the Romans, classical education, learned from the Greeks and the Romans, where one of the things they did to learn how to become better speakers and to learn how to become
That's
fantastic.
amazing.
To learn how to become better speakers and writers, they did what's called copywriting, where you take, like, say the Philippics or On the Chersonese by Demosthenes, and you literally copied it out. Like you just wrote it word for word, because your mind and you get used to learning what it trains your mind to know what a good sentence sounds like, because these people were good at it. So, like you'd write a Federalist paper, like just copy out a Federalist paper if you like Alexander Hamilton. Like if you think Alexander Hamilton's a good speaker or a good writer, and you learn how to be a better writer and a better speaker. In addition, they did what I'm doing in class this week. The Greeks and the Romans would literally take the persona. They would role play. They would take the persona of a historical character, and they would respond as if they were that historical figure. And I forget what it's called. It's not called Ethiopia, but it looks like Ethiopia. The word looks like Ethiopia. I'm looking up.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Like when I was younger, I got
it right. The practice of portraying a character's personality and characteristics through speech and writing, often by imagining what that person would say. It was part of the education. Go ahead.
But one of the things that I want to do eventually with my kids, whether or not I send them to school or end up homeschooling them or whatever, is I want to do something along those lines and giving them appreciation for Shakespeare and the classical stuff like that. And I think it would be so cool to be like, okay, cool. You're going to act out, we're going to act out Shakespeare together, or we're going to act out one of these speeches together and stuff like that. Because I feel like that's something that I enjoyed going to see Shakespeare. I hated reading it, but like seeing it on the stage, I had a great opportunity.
Done well and not by some crappy community theater.
I couldn't tell the difference at like 10 or 12. So
the other problem is, and I don't believe that you should be allowed to be a lawmaker in this country if you don't know anything about the law.
Mm-hmm.
Graduating high school, and you know what? Maybe I'm an elitist. Okay, maybe. All right, boom. Aristocracy. That's fine. You should have graduated high school in order to be a legislator in the highest office. Like, in order to be a member of Congress, you should be able to pass high school. Like, you should. Sorry. I don't think that's unreasonable. And you know what? If I'm being elitist, that's fine. I own the Tumbrils, you populist freaks. Like, go find your own source of power. I'm the aristocracy right here. You should pass high school.
I can agree with that. Especially if you consider that high school should be something that everybody should get. Right? So that's...
Of course.
Like if it's something that is free to everybody at the very minimum, that is a reasonable requirement.
Considering that the founding fathers that we love so much, and they were flawed men. They were flawed men. In 1776, Franklin has a great speech about how, like, we're not demigods. Like, because, they're talking about, like, how's history going to see us? We're leaving slavery in the Declaration of Independence, but it's the only way to get independence because South Carolina is going to sink it up if not. And he's like, what will history think? What do they think we are? Demigods? Like, we're men, like, trying to do, like, the best we can with what we have. Like, we're not perfect people. We're doing what we are flawed human beings, and we're making the best of the situation we have. But they were educated men of principle. Again. Here's where the savages come out. They'll be like, "Oh, really? Alexander Hamilton was principled? What about the Reynolds pamphlet?" Okay, yeah, you're right. That's a terrible decision. Cheating on your wife is a horrible decision. I'm not saying that he wasn't an arrogant prick at times. Absolutely, it doesn't. Human mistakes that people make does not overwrite a desire for virtue. Remember Augustus. Augustus passed all those moral laws for Rome because he wanted the Romans to have a code of virtue to strive for. He didn't hit it. But without a bar, like no one has a lodestone. There has to be a lodestone that people are shooting for. There has to be a bar that people are trying to clear.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I agree. I think that we should try to figure out what that lodestone is for all Americans, and that's a tough.
The thing is, principle should matter. Like principle should matter, virtue should matter to everybody. And Pete, it should certainly matter. Like if you say you're a Christian, it absolutely should matter. Like it should matter to everybody. But like saying you're a Christian and then having it not matter, that I'm sorry, what?
You'll know him by his fruits, right?
Yeah, the rotten crap hanging off the decaying branches. Like everyone should care about principle, but certainly, like I'm sorry, but like if you say you're a Christian, you're held to a higher standard. Sorry, like you're held to a higher standard because you are now espousing, like you are claiming a belief system that absolutely values principle. Exactly. That's exactly what I was picturing, Evie. The pole vault, like a pole vault bar. And then you guys can be just like that. Like ideally, you want to be the Olympic dude who knocked the bar off with his crotch because his bulge was so big that he knocked the bar off. That's what you want to be. You want be the bulge on the pole vaulter of virtue. Christina, it's not gross. It's pithy. It's pithy. Tell Christina it's pithy.
It's pithy, Christina. It's the club of wit.
That's right. Boom. That's boom.
There. Can I get that tattooed around my neck?
I'm gonna change that to tagline on my channel right now.
Big t-shirt sales right there.
Yeah. My buddy Macon and I were talking about how our when someone's like, hey, would you do this and this and this and this if if I like, would you do this for like $10,000? And our wives always say no. And I'm like, absolutely. I would, yes, absolutely.
$10,000.
Absolutely. Boom. Yes, I will wear a sandwich board that is embarrassing. Whatever. Okay. And my buddy's wife is like, come on, like I've got my I'm not going to do that. Like I've got my dignity. And I said, no, my dignity is for sale. My integrity's not. Like I'm not going to do something to compromise my integrity. But if you want me to look like a jackweasel, boom, dignity's for sale to the highest bidder. To the highest bidder. I don't care. I'm not too proud. So
careful, you're on YouTube. Eventually that could get, put to the test if we all convince you to do a game show or something.
Okay, you know what? I will go to Dragonsteel Con in a robe dressed as my favorite knight. What are they called? Knights.
We would dress you as we would make you dress like Syl.
I'll dress like Lift and carry some pancakes around. Knights Radiant. There you go. Whatever. I don't care. I will go up to Sam and I will pretend like I am his long lost son. Whatever.
You'd have to get into the raffle to actually meet him.
I would publicize it.
I'm waiting. We're waiting for the exercise video with
I know
breathlessly.
I'm gonna do it. I know with bated breath. What I think I'm gonna start doing, Pete. I think I'm gonna do weekly stream for you guys, like a history one. Like, remember how y'all used to come in my Caesar lectures at school? I think I'm gonna get on and stream it, and then clean it up and release it to the populace.
I wish there was a way, and maybe we could recreate this in Discord where we do the GIFs again, because that was really fun.
That was so fun. That was my favorite part was when I was lecturing it, and I'm not going to take my shirt off on camera here right
For a
now.
tenner.
Now, if we had negotiated prior, I can't do it on the spot. But if we negotiated prior,
you have to draw on the abs first.
I do have to draw on the abs.
So you can just...
I have like 2 really bad scars right here on my chest. It looks like I was stabbed. It's really.
Why do you say looks like? Just say you were stabbed.
I do, but then I have to make up a story, and Hey Jimmy, thanks for the 10 spot. Jimmy, you're gonna. All right, Christina.
I'm right here.
Jimmy paid me $10. He wants me to take my shirt off.
Are you gonna do it?
I'm asking you if I should. He already paid me. I can't ask him for more.
He already paid.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Usually we negotiate beforehand. He gave me a super chat and didn't let me
Vested descent.
Didn't let me talk about it. You're right, Jimmy. This whole stream, I lack integrity. I am not a man of my word. I do not have fides.
To be fair, you did not commit to this ahead of time.
That's true. I didn't commit it ahead of time. Jimmy just threw money at me and told me to do something.
It's not a valid contract.
That's right. I will not prostitute myself for super chats.
However, if you wanted to prove your point that your dignity is for sale.
It is for sale, but a negotiation. You can't throw money at me. It's not like we'll sell dignity for $10, and anybody that throws $9.99 at me just makes a request. That's right. Look.
Yes.
That's right, Laura.
Mitch.
Don't forget, Laura. What's this from?
Andor.
Oh my gosh.
Bro, you would love some of the stuff in Andor.
Pete.
That entire speech that Mitch is referencing is amazing.
Be the bulge on the Olympic pole vaulter of virtue.
And watch Andor, which you are. I might add, I have to clarify. You took me away from Andor. I could be watching the 9th episode of the season right now.
Yeah, I know. If only this were 1993, where you could never watch that episode again, having stepped away from the television.
It's okay. I sacrificed so much.
It's on Disney Plus. You can literally pause it. Sal's throwing Canadian money at me also. I don't know what the conversion rate is.
Click clack.
Christina, Sal, you have to negotiate first. You can't just throw money and tell me to do something. Wants me to wear a toga. I don't have one.
$1 Canadian is 0.72 US.
You can't wrap a sheet. It's not wrapping a sheet. There's a certain way to do it, and I don't know how to put a toga on. This is my greatest shame. Is I do not actually know how to wear a toga, and I am a Latin teacher. Every time we have to do the toga days at competition, I always have a couple students that know how to do it, and they have to wrap mine. I don't know how to do it. I've watched videos, and I still know how to do it.
This is true.
See, Christina knows.
That's wild.
Oh my God, it is OnlyFans. You're right, Christina. This has become only. No, now what has happened to the back half of this stream?
Performative Latin. So what you're saying is we can be.
Hold on, didn't OnlyFans used to not just be gross? It used to just be like.
No, it was always gross. I mean, I don't know.
I think when it started, I don't think its intention was to always be gross.
But that's what it did. I mean, Patreon existed.
Yeah, I know. I thought it was just like an alternative to that.
I think that's probably what it started as, and then it turned into this whole cultural phenomenon during COVID. But
it is subjective, Jimmy. But I am the one. I am the one sending the. I'm the one making the call, and so it's gross. People are being gross on OnlyFans.
Will you take your shoes off for 5 seconds if somebody pays you $15?
My shoes are off right now, believe it or not. So
What?
the only time I take my shoes off in the house is when I'm sitting at this computer chair, because for some reason it is uncomfortable when I'm sitting at this I don't know, it's sitting at this angle. I don't really so it just has to do where my feet sit. My feet sit slightly higher if my shoes are on.
Your sock shoes. I mean, your sock shoes. That's evidence.
It's
Christina,
really
it's
only fan.
going
We're
through
getting. Gosh, what a tease, Alan! You're not giving us feet pics.
That's disgusting. I would never. I would never show anybody my feet. No, feet are gross. In addition, though, I will say my feet do not sweat. I wear socks all the time. My feet do not sweat and they do not stink. Like I wear my shoes and socks all day, every day. And it's like 80 degrees here all the time. And my feet do not sweat and they do not stink. Christina confirmed that. And she's going to confirm it because I've shoved my shoe in her face and said, smell this shoe.
Oh, I was about to say. I thought
It's the weirdest thing, but it's true.
It's bizarre. There is someone who wears socks and shoes in the heat as often as I do. There is no way your shoes and feet don't stink. Mine don't. They don't. They do not. And
I
it is
wish
bizarre.
I had your feet.
Like seriously. Like look, I'm gonna show you right now.
Wait.
Smells like shoe. That's what it smells like. It smells like shoe. It doesn't smell like stank. It smells like old leather. That's what it smells like. Old
Alan,
leather.
we can't verify that is true because
We don't smell-o-vision?
do that. You could do that on a regular basis. I don't know. You could just be
All right. Well,
really
Christina won't. All right, Christina, you gotta take one for the team. Sorry.
Can I pick it up?
Oh, they can't see. Hold on.
You're blocked by the chair.
I don't have to get up though, right?
Nope.
Put your foot in my face.
Okay.
Further evidence. Nothing.
Y'all are such a weird family. You like to smell each other's feet all the time. God.
Look at that. Look at that.
Is that good enough for Jimmy and Sal?
No, they did not. That is not their request. They did not give us money so that you would smell my feet. Anyway, it's true. My feet don't stink. Guys, seriously, my feet don't stink. My feet actually only sweat if I take my socks off. And then my feet sweat. And then my hands start to sweat. It's a true story. It's all true. All right. So, in the great words of Eddie Izzard, I like to end these things on a, and I feel I've done that. So, we're gonna go ahead and end this. And thanks, guys, for joining. So think about how you can be a better citizen of the world, and how, we can help. I don't know. We can all be more virtuous in our lives.
Do we have to smell other people's feet in order
Nope,
to be more
that is independent of virtue. In fact, I think it is actually completely independent of virtue. I don't think there's any overlap in that Venn diagram. That's right. So I'm going to leave y'all with be the bulge on the Olympic pole vaulter of virtue.
Be the bulge.
Christina, it's not disgusting. It's pithy. Stop. You're confused.
Hey, Battle of the Bulge.
You think everyone was wearing singlets?
That's all World War II was. Airplanes and singlets.
Was the bulge World War II? That was
Yeah.
World War I.
No, it was 2. It was after D-Day.
What am I thinking of?
There could have been more than one bulge.
I'm wrong. I don't actually know a ton about modern history. I'll be dadgum. It was the 3rd deadliest campaign in American history. Dang. What am I thinking of? What's the big World War I battle I'm thinking of?
I mean, it was a
With
line.
all the trenches. With all the trenches.
That was the entire war. I don't know, actually. I don't know much about World War Ones.
No.
Whatever.
Jimmy. Yeah, guys, the smelliness of your feet is directly proportionate. Sorry, the lack of the smelliness of your feet is inversely proportional to your virtue. So, as my feet do not stink, I am therefore the most virtuous.
This feels like a Terry Pratchett side story, like a
Well, look,
random cult.
My
of the
wife's
Sun
feet
just like-
stink, so I don't know what that says about her. Can you, Christina? Can you even see your feet right now?
I mean, they're propped up. So
If you are standing, can you see your feet?
No.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the point I'm making. Your boyfriend is very low on the virtue totem pole.
Oh no.
All right. Anyway, we're staying past is welcome. We're like that uncle at Thanksgiving. We gotta go. All right.
Not that uncle,
Thank you guys so much for joining. And remember to always keep turning the page.
There's no Anitha here to get cut off at the very last second.
That's true.
It's so sad.